serious warning about 2024. Have a last days warning here that you guys need to listen to. Some patterns that you can look up yourself. Alright. Be starting here in a minute. Thank you guys for joining. Waiting just another minute. I have some important information to share with you guys that you need to be warned about for this coming year. And you better be ready because this coming year is coming. It is coming. What is it? It is chaos. God is going to shake the earth literally and figuratively every way possible in 2024. Now, I'm going to prove this right now with some patterns that you can look up for yourself. Okay? 2024 is the year that the whole earth will be shaken. And at the end of 2024, in the beginning of 2025, on the Hebrew calendar, which would be April in 2025, Passover is the rapture. Okay? Now, God is going to shake it. This is the time right before the rapture that we're going into. And then after that is going to be what the Bible says the worst time ever on earth, before or after. That's it. It's going to be the worst 3.5 years ever on earth. So imagine the time right before that. That's 2024. And that's the time that we're in. But as we move forward, we get closer to bottlenecking into that time. So these are patterns that you can look up yourself, okay? The Feast of Trumpets, one of the Jewish holy days. A very special day. The Feast of Trumpets is actually the 6th month on the calendar. It is when Jesus was conceived, was put into Mary. And it falls in September usually. Sometimes early October, depending on the moon cycles. This year, Feast of Trumpets falls on September 15th, 2023. Now, if you do a day count from the Feast of Trumpets, September 15th, 2023, this year, coming up, a day count to April 8th, 2024. Now, what is special about this day? Okay. This day marks a total solar eclipse, but not any total solar eclipse. This is not a normal total solar eclipse. There are eclipses all the time. This one is not normal. This one is a landmark solar eclipse. And I'm going to tell you some special things about this. I've talked all about this, but I have a little more information. The total solar eclipse on April 8th makes an X across America with the total solar eclipse in 2017, which was 7 years ago. The number 7. 7 is the number for divine completion. Okay? And in 2017, there was another landmark total solar eclipse. It was called I think it was something like the American total solar eclipse. And it makes an X across America. Now, it's interesting that Mr. Musk named his brand or whatever X. This is 2024, guys. This is probably one of the reasons why they did that. There's a lot of reasons, probably, esoterically. 2024, there is a X that goes across America with these total solar eclipses. And the interesting thing about this is it goes over a major fault line called the New Madrid fault line. The New Madrid fault line is one of the major fault lines in America. And fault lines are about earthquakes. And we know that in the 6th seal, the first thing that happens is a great earthquake. A great earthquake when the 6th seal opens. And that is the beginning of right before the rapture. Okay? Because then the heavens are rolled back and Christ appears. And that matches up with Colossians 3:4. When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, we shall also appear with him in glory. That's in the sixth seal. Some people think it's before the first seal. I don't think that. I've done videos how I thought that. Has to be the sixth seal. Okay? Now, this is the earthquake eclipse. Okay? It crosses the major fault line. It makes an X across America. And it goes over a place where the X meets. It goes over a place called Little Egypt. Egypt. Little Egypt. Right? So this is connected with the Exodus. In the book of Exodus with the Israelites, they exited out of Egypt. Get it? Okay? So where this total eclipse meets, the total eclipse in 2017, at that point in the X, it's called Little Egypt. And it goes over a major fault line. And the first thing that happens in the sixth seal is a great earthquake. Are we seeing how this April 8th total solar eclipse is special? Now, getting back to the Feast of Trumpets this year. If you go from the Feast of Trumpets, September 15, 2023, a day count, to April 8, 2024, total solar eclipse that I went all over, you get the number 206. That's how many days it is. From September 15, 2023 to April 8, 2024, the number 206 in the Strong's Concordance. Do you know what one of the definitions for that number is? The end. That's all, folks. The end. Look it up yourself. I give you evidence so that you can look these things up. This is how we do it today. We prophesy in part, but we have to prove all things with evidence. And one of the definitions is the end. Okay? Now, it ain't the end of the world. It's the end of the dispensation of grace. Or getting there. Okay? Very close to it. Okay? Now, another pattern that you can look up for yourself. Evidence for yourself. I don't just come on here and say, oh, God told me this, and I think this, and I felt the breeze, and then I had a heart murmur, and you should believe me. No! I come on here with hardcore evidence so that you can look it up yourself. Okay? That's how it's done today. Yeah, thus saith the Lord through evidence. Okay? Now, if you do a day count from the same Feast of Trumpets this year, the day that Jesus was conceived, September 15th, 2023, and you go to the next Feast of Trumpets, 2024. Now, when is that? October 2nd. See how it lands a little different because of the moon cycles? Months. Okay? That's how God's calendar works, off the sun, the moon, and stars. That's what they were created for. One of the reasons. Okay. So Feast of Trumpets to Feast of Trumpets in 2024, day count is number 383 days. Okay? 383. Under the number 383, Strong's Concordance Greek. Greek is the New Testament. It means I shake up. Do we get that? I shake up. Earthquake. And all other ways too. He's going to shake everything up, okay? We can see that transpiring. And it also means to move to and fro. Come on, guys. To move to and fro, and I shake up. That's Feast of Trumpets 2023 to 2024. And matched with the total solar eclipse in April 8th, going over major fault lines, 2024 being the year of the dragon. Revelation chapter 12, what happens right before the man-child is caught up? We are the man-child. And the dragon drew a third part of the stars from heaven, and he was ready to devour the man-child. That's us. 2024 is the year that they are going to be ready to devour us with everything, with the devices that they made, the technology that they put all around us in the heavens. Obadiah 1:4. God said, if you set yourself up in the heavens, your nest in the heavens as an eagle, I will cut you down. This is a warning for everybody out there for 2024. That if you're not taking things serious by now, if you're still eating, drinking, and being merry until the flood takes everybody away, 2024 is going to shake everything. God is going to shake everything in 2024. I'm warning you guys. I know this because I can see the evidence. I'm not just going to the beach or going to a lake fishing and having a thought saying, oh, I think 2024 is going to be extremely shaken. No. I'm not doing that. I'm showing you evidence in the heavens, in what we have written, in the scriptures, everything. 2024 is the year right before the rapture. 2024 is the year right before the worst time ever in history is going to begin. So you need to start thinking about everything. Okay? Now, I am one to talk because I am not prepared seriously for much, because there's a couple things that I could really get. We need to think about power. Do you have a generator? Extra gasoline? Do you have you can get a solar generator too that works off the sun. One thing that I've learned that we all depend on every day and take advantage of so much is electricity. But when the electricity is tampered with and goes out, you can't cook, you can't do laundry, you can't keep warm, you can't see. What if you have like a CPAP machine and you need electricity? You can't breathe if you're in that position. All these things are dependent upon electricity, and it's amazing to me because electricity, spell it out, syllables. L, electricity. What is L? Well, looking at it like this, L-E-L means God. Now, I'm not saying that God is just electricity in the wall, but there is God is a consuming fire. So would electricity be part of that? Like of his makeup, kind of? Right? The words are connected for a reason. I'm not saying that God's electricity. God is God. But, just like he's made up of, something. Gamma rays, electricity, fire. Right? We all get that? So think about it. We can't live without electricity. There's a connection there. Now, you gotta get it through your head that this is it. This is a year before the rapture that we're coming into. Okay? Now, please do your research. Look these things up. Very simple. Simple day counts. Simple connection to the Strong's Concordance. Simple connection to the heavens above, because that is what they're there for. Genesis chapter 1 says that the heavens, the sun, the moon, and the stars, are there for signs, seasons, which means appointed times, and appointed feast days. So right there, two, signs and seasons. Well, the X that is being made in America, in the heavens in 2024, that's a sign. And what are we using to get there? A season, which is an appointed feast day. Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Trumpets, April 8th, which is the new year. Seasons, appointed times, that's a new year. April 8th is Nisan 1. Nisan 1 is the first day of the Hebrew New Year. So we're using everything that they were made for. Appointed times, appointed feasts, signs, which is the X, going over certain areas, days and years. Obviously, we're using it for days and years. Everything that I'm doing here, I'm showing you guys, is lawful. Paul wrote, if a man strive for masteries, he must strive lawfully. What does that mean? If you're striving for masteries, if you're being, I guess you could say, perfected, if you're being taught, that's a better word for me. If you're being taught by the Master, the Holy Spirit, then you will be striving lawfully. What is striving lawfully? That is giving ample amounts of evidence, doing your research, looking things up, striving lawfully, rather than just coming on here and saying, well, I think this, I think that, God told me this, God told me that. You just have to believe me. I had a dream. I can't prove any of it. See you later. That's not striving lawfully. If you want masteries to be taught by the Master, you have to strive lawfully. And God has given us many tools. He's given us the sun, the moon, the stars. He's given us the Strong's Concordance. He's given us the Bibles. He's given us days, months, years, signs, seasons, everything. And that's all that I'm using here. So that when I give you what I see, you can then go and look for yourself. You see, the prophets in the olden days, they just came and said, thus saith the Lord. He said this, and that's it. Just like Jonah going to Nineveh or any of the Old Testament prophets. Okay? That's how it was. Now, they were under the law, so if they were wrong, they would be killed on the spot. Okay? You want to talk about hardcore? If you were wrong in a prophecy back then, you were killed on the spot. That's how the law worked, and that's how it worked for prophets. Today, we prophesy in part. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Today, some prophecies will fail. 1 Corinthians 13, because we see it through a glass darkly. But Paul also says in those verses, he says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. But when I became a man, I put childish things away. When you become mature, you will be doing, and I'm not bragging, but I'm being honest, you will be doing something like this. You'll be giving real evidence for why you believe what you believe and why you're teaching what you're teaching. That is going from childish things to an adult, mature in the spirit, knowing that it's not good enough and it's not lawful just to tell people things and have them believe you. That is a strong delusion. That is the problem with people. A guy dresses up really nice, he gets a nice building, and he can say anything to the people. He can tell them, if you don't give me money, you're cursed. And they believe him. Why? Just like the Garden of Eden. Because what they see and what they hear, what did the serpent do? He tangled with the ears, and what he said, he whispered in their ears nice things, right? And they saw things, and it was so beautiful to the eye, and they were deceived. It all works the same way. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. What was done then will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. And Isaiah 46:10. God declares the end, which we're in, from the beginning. It's all a cycle. The Hebrew year is 360 days. Well, that's not by coincidence. 360 degrees is a full circle. Everything repeats itself in the same patterns. The devil has the same old tricks. The Bible even said that God doesn't change. So the devil studies how he works. And he works in patterns. 100%. God is a God of patterns. But these patterns expand themselves. They expand. Jesus was the man-child that was caught up in Revelation chapter 12. Now, the pattern is for his body, which his body was caught up, right? The man-child, him, one person. Now his body is all the plethora of believers today. His body will be caught up, just like we are the man-child now. So it's all a pattern, but it's an expansive pattern. Like the golden ratio. The whirlwind that Elijah was caught up in, a whirlwind, a tornado, think of it. At the bottom, you start small going into this pattern, but then when you open up your understanding and you're getting to heaven and you open up, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're using the full circle, 360 degrees, 360 days in the Hebrew year, but it's expanding. It's getting like this big. Now I see these huge patterns that God is doing. You start out in Genesis 3 in the garden. The book of Revelation, you end up back in the garden. But with the second Adam, which is Jesus Christ. You see that? And he reverses all the things that the first Adam did, the fall and all of that. That's another video that I'll be making very soon. But that's what this is. That's why the rapture is when Jesus was caught up. Passover, 2025. When was the man-child caught up in Revelation 12? Jesus. It was Passover. When are we caught up? Passover, 2025. You want to be more specific? Hey, 4/19/2025. That's when the sun goes through Taurus. Okay? In the constellations. The sun, symbolic of the sun, Jesus, the son of righteousness, Malachi 4:2, going through Taurus. Or also symbolic of the Taurus field, the firmament that is covering the earth like a tent. He comes through and he picks us up. Triumphal entry, possibly a pattern. Yeah, buddy. Look, I've been shown so many things that there is no way possible that I can sit here and tell you everything, because when something comes, then another thing comes, then another thing comes. You have to go on my YouTube channel, click on the link, and watch all my videos. Is it possible that there will be a Rapture 2024 Feast of Trumpets? Possibly. I've shown some patterns for the possibility, but I believe firmly that it's in 2025 Passover. But I'm warning you, 2024 is going to shake everything. I've shown you guys. Screenshot it. Screenshot it. Screenshot that. Look it up yourself. He's telling us he's going to shake everything in the year of the dragon. That's 2024. It's a warning video. Warning video. God bless. Also, if you look in Matthew chapter 24, get it, 2024, that is the chapter that starts talking about the end. Just like I showed you right now. They said, what shall be the signs of the end, or the times of the end, the disciples said to Jesus. And what does he talk about? He's talking about the end, and it's in Matthew 24. And then when do we start reading about the rapture? Matthew 25, the 5 wise virgins and the midnight cry. You see this? 2025. Matthew 25. These patterns are there for this reason. It is not by chance. You guys might have noticed that the video that you just saw was made on a channel called Hidden Wisdom 2020. That is my Instagram channel if anybody feels led to go check that out. Thank you all for listening.
I'm up, yeah. Sometimes I'm down, yeah. Sometimes I want, yeah, to leave this town, yeah. Sometimes I'm high, yeah. Sometimes I'm cold, yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting old.